Looking at the final trading day of the week is Friday, the 8th of September. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. And this is your Frontier Opening Bell. Look through the Frontier Africa's trading day. Let's start from Zimbabwe, where the stock market continued to roll on, jumped very strongly on Thursday, 125,549 for the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange on the day that a new parliament was inaugurated for the second term of President Emerson Mnangagwa, who was declared the winner of the last election. So that's a very big jump. So the roller coaster, that big rally in Zimbabwe is continuing. The South African stock market, however, bucked 1.66%, very massive sell down on the GSE, down to 73,185. The Nigerian market also saw a decline for a second day. The market was down roughly 117 billion naira. For just about 2 days decline, the Nigerian stock market fell roughly 120 to about 130 billion in local currency. There's a pullback, but we're still holding the tail end of the 68,000, as you can see on the all-share index. The BRVM continued that upward trajectory, 0.31%. Catch me if you can. The Ghana stock market also ramped up 0.33%. On Thursday. Then you got the Egyptian market, 0.79%, a very fast-moving 4-day session so far this week. And of course, Thursday is the end of the week for the market in Cairo. The Nairobi stock market, whatever is happening there, someone tell me, please. The NSE all-share index sat pat at 97.98, below the 100. But let's see what happens today, Friday, and if the market will get back on its feet back on Monday, getting the NSE back on its footing. But let's see how all that plays out. We'll talk a couple of earnings and news around the East African market. And that's where I'm going next with the top headlines for the East African economic corridor. It's been a week of news and activities for East Africa, by the way, with the Ethiopian Capital Markets Authority signing that deal this week with the International Finance Corporation, which is the private sector lending arm of the World Bank, to bring about a new local currency window for government and private issuers on the new securities market in Ethiopia. KCB, one of the biggest banking and financial services groups, says it's injecting 14.5 billion shillings to fund its Kenyan unit after the DRC buyout. KCB is following in the footsteps of Equity Bank, which is doing massive East African to Central African rollouts over the last few years. And Kenyan banks are now introducing what you call a climate-related reporting template for the banks in order to be in line with sustainability requirements. And Gabon military leader at his inauguration on Thursday asked all director generals or government officials who are stolen funds to voluntarily step forward and bring back those funds no later than 48 hours. That 48 hours should be expiring later today. He said he has a list of all the corrupt government officials, but they should at least step forward voluntarily if they're going to arrest, if they're going to avoid an arrest or further prosecution. But now it's voluntary disclosure. But for now, that's what the new military leader says. And the East African community says it's gearing up for the launch of a regional digital integration project, and that will be a major one for the East Africa as a hub. So now Nigeria's and West Africa's weaker reserves highlights the country's external risk challenges, according to Fitch, but says that the fuel subsidy removal and the tinkering with the various exchange rates in the country could bring in much needed direct portfolio investments into the Nigerian economy. That's according to Fitch. In the meantime, just late yesterday, the NNPC Limited says the notice issued by NNPC Exploration and Production Limited, which is a subsidiary of the State Oil Company, was not meant to be an objection to the deal between Italian Eni selling its 20% in Nigerian Ajib Oil Company to Owando Nigeria PLC. And the currency here in Nigeria fell to 930 to the dollar on Market Street, as we saw a very strong dollar index hitting a 6-month high among its peers. Ghana, still in West Africa, is looking to raise $705 million in energy taxes this year as part of the target of the government to keep the Ghanaian economy afloat, while Togo says its private investment averages about 4.5% in the last 5 years. That's taking that to roughly 20% of the country's GDP. Togo is one of the smallest African countries, just next door to Nigeria. So let's check into the Southern Africa market. The country's current account deficit was about 2.3% of GDP in the second quarter, April to June. That's much bigger than 0.9% in the first quarter, January to March. Those numbers came in on Thursday. In corporate earnings, Sanlam says its earnings jumped 3 times, and headline earnings per share, which is the most watched in the line item on the country's report in South Africa, company's report in South Africa, was about 118% upside in the first 6 months of this year. Pick n Pay has lost his iconic founder, Raymond Ackerman. He died on Wednesday evening at the age of 92. He'll be sorely missed. He's survived by Wendy, his wife, and children and other family members. And the CBZ Financial assesses finalizes the deal to purchase about 31.2% of First Mutual Holdings from NNSA in Zimbabwe. While MultiChoice, according to the regulator in Zambia, MultiChoice will be restoring Malawi's DSTV today. And that's the story. Malawi's DSTV was suspended due to a rift between the company and the regulator in Malawi, but that is expected to be restored today, according to the regulator. That's Yellow MultiChoice. Okay, finally, let's touch on with North Africa, where Egypt is looking at about $2 billion in financing, including $1 billion from Samurai and Panda bonds before the end of 2023. That's external financing that the president of Sisi's administration is targeting. Egypt is also forecasting between 25 and 30% upside in fertilizer exports for the current year, as we saw a bit of an issue with that from the Russia-Ukraine war. And the Credit Immobilier Hotelier Group of Morocco says its first half, January to June, consolidated net banking income was up about 37%. That's quite some upside there. And finally, Tunisia is looking to reopen Bado International Museum. It was closed back in 2021 under President Said and all of that trouble, political issues. Now it has been trying to be resolved. Tunisia is trying to reopen for business and position itself within the North African economy. So the International Museum will be reopened, and at least some revenue could come in through there from both local and international visitors. Those are your headlines this Friday. Lay back and enjoy the weekend, everyone. I'll see you back on Monday. Bye for now.